and let me know. The first thing I'm going to cover is how you locate books based on your subject. You're going to have three options. I'll show you how you can locate books here, and then if the book is not here, I'll show you how you request books. And if you still haven't found something for yourself, I will show you where to go to look for items in the North Dakota State Library. So first of all, we're going to go to this very first link, the Central Dakota Library Network. And on this screen, this is called Enterprise. And this is where you will go to limit books here. So if you have a topic, if I pull this menu down, you can search by title, author, or subject. So of course you're probably going to search by a subject. And I'm just going to put something in, if I could type. And then I hit the search bar. Okay, now I have 31 results. On the left side is where I'm going to limit things. I can see, the first thing I look at is my format. I definitely am going to want books. I'm not going to want a VHS or a video disc. So I'm going to click on books, and that's going to limit my results to 25. And then I for sure want to look and see what we have. I would limit them to the Beulah High and the middle school, because sometimes we have books that are a little higher level at the middle school that you might be able to use. And so I'm going to click on those two boxes and hit include. And now I can see that I have 3 results between those 2 schools. And if I want to know more about those books, then I'm going to click on the title. And now I can see the title, the author. There's 56 pages to this book. And then there's a little abstract about the book itself. These subject terms down here tell you what that book is going to deal with, what kind of information is going to be in there. And then, down at the bottom, you can see that this book is at our library. This is the shelf number, or call number. So this is the information that you are going to look for and go locate that item on the shelf. And then the status is something that you're going to look for. You're going to look at the status before you go look for the book. Obviously this one is in and available, so you could go look for this book. If this says that it's checked out or lost or in processing, you're not going to be able, obviously you're not going to be able to get that book. If it's checked out, it will say when the due date is, but I can already tell you that for your purposes, you're not going to have time to wait for a book to come in. Don't request or try and get something that is checked out. And if this book isn't something you want, then you can just click this arrow that's on the right, and it will take you to the next record. And here's another one at our high school, and the last one was at the middle school. Now, not every record is going to give you an abstract of that book. And not every record tells you the page numbers.
Do you all know what an abstract is? Maybe you could explain that again.
Right here, in this very first record, here's an abstract. It's just a short summary of what that book is about.
Thank you.
And that happens to be the only record that has one of those. This one here doesn't even, this one doesn't have an abstract, but it does have the number of pages it is. Okay, questions on how to limit items here? Because that's what you're going to do first. If we don't have a book on your topic, then you're going to go back to this main page. You can't request on this side. You could on a PC, but they don't work on iPads. So you're going to have to go into the classic catalog search. And then we're going to go to keyword again. And you can search by general word, but that's going to give you many more results. So generally, I would start with a subject search first. Then, if you don't get enough results, put that term in your general word. And when you search, you can't use several words. You're going to have to use 1 or 2 topic words. So let me use, I don't know, someone give me a,
Well, that's a good one.
we'll do that one. Okay, I come up with 46 results with steroids, and this screen looks a little bit different. You are again going to click on the title, and you're able to see more information on that book. These are the topics that are dealt with in this book. And does anyone have any idea why this word is highlighted?
Because it's the key word.
That's the word that I searched, right? So that's how these records appear. Whatever topic you're searching for, it brings up that word in the title, or in the abstract, or in these subject links. So keep that in mind when you are looking for items. Sometimes you need to change your search if you don't get enough results or any results at all. So here again I have my summary, and I can see that we do not own this book. So let's pretend that I want this item. See where it says request item right here? You're going to click on this, and then at this point, you're going to have to come up and get your library card and your PIN number. And then you're going to enter the information in there, and the next screen, you will see a little gray format in the middle where it has the title that you've requested, and then it says the drop where your book is going to be dropped at. Make sure that it's always going to be dropped at the high school. Sometimes that defaults to U of Mary or Bismarck Public, so always look to make sure that it's defaulted to Beulah High School. There's a pull-down menu that you can change that with. And then you're going to hit request there, and the next screen that comes up will tell you your request was successfully placed, and it tells you what number in line you are for that book. If you are not number 1, then you need to find a different book for your project. If it's a book that you're requesting for personal reading, it doesn't matter what number in line you are, but for your project, if you're not first in line, get a different book because you don't have time to wait. I get books through the courier Mondays after school and Thursdays after school. So generally, I'm not here Tuesday mornings, so I probably will be leaving those books with Mrs. Heller in the classroom. And then Friday morning, when I'm here, I will get checked in whatever I did Thursday night and get them to you Friday. Now, once you are logged in, you can click on My Account, and when you're at this screen, you can go on here and check to see if your book, like sometimes you've been waiting a week and your book is still not coming. Then log in and look for your holds. Your holds are going to tell you if that item is in transit or if it's still on request. If you're not looking at this and your book is not coming, then that's not my problem because I won't know what you're waiting for. It's your job to go in here and make sure that your book is still on request or is coming. At times, for whatever reason, we don't know, some of those requests get deleted, and you're waiting for a book that is never going to come because your request got deleted. So you need to go in to your account and see if that book is still on request. And the other nice thing is, we don't charge fines here, but when you request books from other libraries, about 3/4 of them, and there's like 21 of us in this consortium, about 3/4 of them charge fines. And so if you bring a book late, you're going to owe me money because that money has to go back with that book. But if you have your library card number and you log in, you can see when your book is due, and you also get a slip of paper from me when it's due. But if your book is almost due, you can go and renew it online one time. The third time that you would need it, you have to come in here and renew it. Questions? Okay. I'm not going to go back through another one of those records, but just remember if you don't find anything on the enterprise screen, you have to request through the classic catalog search. The next thing I want to show you then home screen. If there is nothing for you through Central Dakota Library Network, the next thing you're going to do is go to the North Dakota State Library. Now I'm going to show you over here, we have these gold bookmarks. On one side is the Central Dakota Library Network. It goes through the steps that you will use to locate a book or request a book. On the back side of it is the North Dakota State Library information. Now, if you are going to use the North Dakota State Library resources while you're in school, you do not need a login or password information. But if you try and locate information at home or anywhere else, you're going to need the information at the very bottom of this bookmark to log into the state library. And all the things that I show you from now until the next couple pieces of information deal with the state library. So you're going to need this information if you're going to work at home. So when you're at the home page for the North Dakota State, you're going to type right here at the very top upper right hand corner. Going to put your topic in there, and again, if you're reading for pleasure, you can search by title or author or whatever. But I'm going to search by topic. Now this first initial screen, I need you to look closely. See where my hand is? It says right here, North Dakota State Library Catalog. I am right now only searching the state library. But I don't want that because sometimes I don't get any results when I search just the state library. You need to go over to the right and click on All Odin Libraries. Now let me explain the CDLN, that Central Dakota Library Network, the one that I just finished talking about. That's a consortium of about 21 libraries. The state library gives us access to all other libraries within the state who are not participating in our consortium. So here we have access to books in Glen Allen, Beach, Dickinson, wherever, Fargo, U of Mary. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is, again, I'm going to go down and I'm going to limit to books. So I'm going to click on books. And these icons also tell you what you have. This computer's super slow. I'm going to keep talking while this is coming up. You are not able to request books from this site. What you will do is and please make sure that this is your last resort. If you go straight to the state library and try and have me request a book, and I go in and look at and see that it's in CDLN, I'm going to make you come back and request it from CDLN. Or if I don't catch that it's in CDLN and I request the book, the state library will email me and say, you must use the book from your consortium first. So I'm not able to request from here unless our resources are exhausted from our consortium. So make sure that this is definitely your last resort. And it takes longer to get items from the state library. And by the way, requesting a book is going to be something that you're going to do immediately. That's going to be the one that takes the longest, is your book. So I'm just going to pretend that this is done running. Is it going to let me? So when you find your results, you're going to click on whatever title you think you're interested in. You're going to go ahead and read through all of this and make sure that this description has information that's useful to you. And then also look and see how many pages this is. Sometimes you get a 1,000-page book. Well, make sure that there's enough information in there that deals with your topic, because you're not going to read a 1,000-page book for this project. And it costs money to mail these books, so keep that in mind as well. Now, this is the page that you would need to print and get to me. Or take a screenshot and email it to me, and then I request it from the state library. My email address is on the district directory, so a screenshot is much easier. I do end up printing these just for my records to keep track of who has that book, and get it when I get it back. Then I toss the record so I know it's complete, because I am responsible to get these books back. So again, this is your last resort. Either print this or screenshot it and get this to me, and I will get it requested. Questions on how to get a book? Okay. Then we're going to go on to talking about databases. Now, I know that your paper is it could be like a pro-con paper. So I'm going to show you two websites that could be quite useful to you, and then I'm going to show you another database that is just filled with periodicals. The pros and cons of controversial issues. This is it is filled with information, and it's quite interesting to see both sides. It gives you both sides of the information that you're looking for.
And if you're trying to develop ideas, that might be a place that you'd want to go, see what the options are.
And on the very first screen, if I remember right, that's what greets you is different topics. And wow.
Make sure, my requirement is that when you request a book, I'm going to require you request 2 books, just in case you get one that's not helpful, maybe it's just filled with pictures or something, or the other one doesn't come. Okay, so just request 2. I'll actually put a sheet in my room where I'm going to ask you for the titles of those 2 books so that I know that you have indeed requested 2 books. Okay, so kind of keep track of that.
Okay, while this is running, I'm just going to go over here to choose databases, and I'll show you how I got this link is actually on the high school library webpage. Oh, you know what? I didn't show you how to get to that webpage today. How many of you remember how to get to the middle school? You know, you used to get to the middle school library webpage. You remember that, Mr. Day? Do you remember how to get it from high school?
Last year when we did that paper for
Last
Ms.
year?
Butcherfield, you taught us how to do it.
Great. That's how you're going to get there, is through the district webpage. On the district webpage, there is an option under student/community. District library is the second choice. And then from there, you're going to click on the high school. And so the EBSCO databases are on the high school page as well, and I'll show you. Now, I left all of the databases open to you because you might be doing a topic on health. You might be doing a topic that is on a science related. Of course, it all has to be science related. But generally, I put on my web page this EBSCO mega file, because the EBSCO mega file has all of these other ones under there. So when you search EBSCO mega file, you're searching all of these that are on this page. However, if your topic deals more with health, you might be more interested in choosing a health source, or this one, or Health Watch. Okay, so keep that in mind. But most of you are probably going to choose one of these 2, the Master File Premier or the EBSCO Mega File. Now I'm going to go through the EBSCO Mega File because that's broader than the first one. A couple different things on here. You're going to want to click, see where it says limit your results? You definitely want to click on the full text. If you do not click on the full text, you're going to get periodical results that have abstracts, right? Short summaries of the articles. You don't want that. Click on the full text. The next thing, and I guess I failed to ask Mrs. Heller this, I don't know if she has limited how far back you can go with your information. You're able to limit that here if you'd like to.
That's probably a great tool for you to use, because you want the most current you know, so you might try and see, you know, a few years back, and if you don't get the information you need, then expand it, you know, maybe 5 years back, and if you don't find that, then expand it again.
I'll show you, we can also limit that at the next page too. Okay, so I'm going to put in, I'm sure I have a hard time thinking. Give me a topic, somebody.
Abortion.
Okay. Notice as I start typing, these other areas or other ideas come up. Now, this is a really good thing for you to keep in mind. Look at those topics, because as I'm typing and I look in here and I'm like, oh, might not have thought about ethics. That's really what I'm looking for, but I might not have thought about typing all that in. So, or the law of it. So you can always pay attention to this, and I am actually going to click on the rights if that's a topic that you're doing. So pay attention to those words that pop up. Sometimes they have some really good ideas for you. Now on the left side of the page is where, again, we're going to refine results. We have limited this to a full text, and that's definitely what we wanted. Now the second option under limit 2 is scholarly and peer-reviewed journals. Mrs. Haller has said that she wants you to use them as well. I have 1,000 results right now. Now look under the publication date here. This information, out of these 1,000 results, the oldest is going to be in 1971 and the newest is going to be 2015. Now I can change that here. And now I have 624, and I've changed it to 2003. So you can limit that, your publication date, by using that bar. Source types, I generally don't move the source types. I kind of leave it as all results. So now you have 624 results to look through. And if you want to go more current, you could do that as well. Now, a couple different things that I want to show you here. How many of you remember your login information for EBSCO from last year? Hopefully, you have put that someplace. Maybe you saved it to your email account or something, because it is very useful to you to keep that log. And I remember tell the kids this from 7th grade up, because they create some of these in 7th grade. The folder is very useful to you because as you're looking at these periodical results today, later this afternoon or tomorrow, they are not going to appear in this same order. EBSCO puts in articles the newest at the top. It's not by the most viewed, it's always the most current at the top. So whatever is number 1 right now, if they are adding, and EBSCO is added to daily, some of these are not going to be there when you go to look for your information. So it's always nice to be able to put that in a folder. So I do have an account. I'm going to try and log in. I want to show you how that actually works. Now that I'm signed in the upper right-hand corner, it says, not Kathy Jo. I know that I'm signed in because it has my name. If you do not have an account, you're going to want to create an account. And I'm telling you again, remember your login information. This is something that you're going to use for the rest of your educational career through college. And whatever you put in this folder, you can keep in that folder. You may use some of this stuff when you're in college. You don't know. It might come up that you have already some of this in your folder. When I look up here, I can see that I have a sign out button, and my folder is open and it has papers in there. So that tells me that I have some items in my folder. Then, if by some chance I have items in here that I don't want anymore, I can simply click on this box to the left of the item and delete that item. You can email your results to yourself. You can print them, whatever. Having this folder is a great benefit to you Let me get back to my results. I'm going to show you how you put things in a folder. First of all, let's pretend that you have read through several of these results, and you are going to do that by clicking on the title, and all of a sudden you have all of this information in front of you. Here is an abstract, but down here, I guess this is a PDF. So that's an issue, because are you able to open PDFs on yours? You
Yep.
can. Okay.
And if you have the pen and paper app, you can highlight, make notes on there.
Okay, so that's a great benefit to you if you can open your PDF.
There are probably other apps that work for that too.
Now I'm going to show you some of this information on here, because this is information that you will need to cite your source. Okay? The title, of course, you need that. The authors you're going to need. Here you have your source. Now, what do I mean by source? What is this? This is the title of my source, Journal for the Scientific Study of Religion. Is that a periodical title, or is that the title of my article? Does this information behind that title give you a clue? It says March 2014, volume 53, issue 1, pages 1 through 16. So is this a periodical title or a title of an article?
Article? Title.
Title of the journal.
Of what?
Of the journal.
Of the journal, of the periodical. Yes. This up here is the title of the article that's in this journal. Okay? You will need to know the title of your periodical. Source is the same as title. You will need to know the volume and the issue number, the date of publication, and also the pages. That's all information that you need to cite your source. Then, you also need to know, this one doesn't list it, your database, where you got this from. And this one doesn't list it, so you're going to go back to the EBSCO mega file, and that's what your database is going to be, your EBSCO mega file. Sometimes they will list the database down towards the bottom of your record, so you're always going to want to check your record first.
Okay, I'm going to hold you there for just a second. Notice under author affiliations, it says DOI, and there's a number behind it. DOI is your digital object identifier. If you have, you will notice, we'll talk about this when we get into citing. That is going to be an important piece of information for you if it has the DOI. It's going to be part of your citation. So that's something you'll want to keep track of also. It's a new way of linking that electronic document no matter where it is. That digital object identifier doesn't change.
It's like it's Social Security number.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about here, and maybe you're going to do this, but this is a journal. And it said on the side on the left, you said that journals or scholarly journals are peer-reviewed. Do you remember what it means to be a peer-reviewed? Why would a journal article be better or more scientifically sound than, say, an article in Newsweek or an article in Science Daily? Not exactly. They talk, journals are, the articles in journals are peer reviewed. That means that if a scientist or an educator or someone like that writes an article for a journal, it is reviewed. You know, like you do peer reviews of each other's papers, it is reviewed by other specialists in that field to make sure that indeed it is correct, the information makes sense, that sort of thing. So it's a highly reputable, credible source. It's probably the best you can get. Okay, sorry.
Nope, that's fine. So that this article on AIDS, the peer review, the peers review, probably doctors who have worked with AIDS for numerous years. Okay? So they are the experts. Questions on how to use this? 'Cause I'm quickly running out of time and I haven't even got to the web pages. I'm gonna see, now this is my EBSCO one, I can see my pro and con is ready. Now, this is the pro and con website where it comes up with different topics. It gives you the most popular, puts them up, that divides them up into categories. Here's science. There's just a lot of information on this website. I'm just going to click on school uniforms. Now I have information on the school uniforms. It gives me, these are kind of cluttered, okay? So you're just gonna have to sort through the information. Here you have your pro and your con, which is always fun to read. It's interesting to see both sides. Lots of information, correct? So I'm going to leave this just this way. It's definitely going to take some time for you to look through all of this. The other website, I don't know how long it's going to take me to bring it up. Here was the EBSCO host research database, the one that we just looked through. That's where you're going to click for your databases. The Points of View Reference Center, that is the next one that has the pros and cons on there. I'm not certain that I'm going to wait. It depends how long this takes. Okay. Here again, they give you categories that you can go through. And it's pretty much just like the other one, where you're going to get both sides of the story. Notice I'm still in EBSCO, but since I left my initial EBSCO screen, I'm signed out. And that was something else that I forgot to tell you. When you are using the State Library resources, and if you don't use your folder for a while, it automatically just signs you out. So if you're putting things in your folder and you go to X out and you didn't sign in, you didn't make sure that your folder was open with your name, you just lost whatever you put in that folder. Periodically, you must look up in that upper right-hand corner and make sure that you're still signed in and that this folder is open. So here again is all the information that you need on this particular topic. Nice thing about this is it also gives you other ideas. These are the sources that these people use to put this information up. So of course you might be able to use some of these periodicals for your information. The books, notice it had books up here. Those books are not going to be any benefit to you. But perhaps some of these periodicals, you could copy and paste this information into EBSCO and see what you can find. Any questions on these sites? Howard, did I miss anything?
Nope, you're good.
I can tell you right now, this Librarian's Index to the Internet, that used to be a really good source as well. However, they've closed that. It may be good to you. It depends upon what kind of topic you're doing. They are no longer putting new information in. So there isn't going to be any 2016 things in here. So some of you, I left it up here because some of you might be able to use this, but it all depends upon your topic. Okay, so I'm going to now refer you to your bookmark that I gave you, that yellow one. On that bookmark is information that you are going to use to evaluate websites. Notice on the right side, or on the left side, excuse me, you have the word cards. And that's just going to help you remember the words that you need to think about when you are evaluating a website. The C stands for credibility. And does anyone have any idea what am I talking about credibility on a website? How trustworthy the information is? How about the person that put the information up there? Yeah, their profession. Do they have the credentials to put that information up there? And do they have the experience to put that information up there? And there should be a contact us link or an about us. If there's not an about us or a contact link, that might be a flag to you that they really don't want you to contact them with questions. If you are looking at a website and you have questions, you should be able to readily be able to contact them and ask them information. You should even be able to ask them for their credentials. The A stands for accuracy. You're always going to want to look for spelling, grammar, factual errors. If there are any of those, then that site is not a good site to use. I always refer to an experience at the middle school I had several years ago. They were doing a project on China, and one of the kids was doing the Great Wall of China. And I had previously told them that information should be able to be proven 3 times. You should look at 3 times. If that information is the same on 3 different websites, then it's probably correct. One student, it took them 5 different web pages to find the length of the Great Wall of China consistently 3 times. So don't take the information on the very first website that you see as being accurate, especially if you're looking for statistics. Are the sources cited on that website? You should be able to see their site, the sources that they use. R stands for reliability. Is the source free from bias? Now you're doing a pro and con paper. Might you see some biased information? What is biased information?
Going for one side.
One side. So yeah, you're probably going to see some biased information. Is this information free of advertising? Or is it at least clearly separate from the advertising? Now that pro and con website that I brought up, to me it's cluttered. It drives me crazy. I can't stand looking at that page. There's just too much on there. And the only reason why it's a good site is because it does have good information. There is some advertising on there. Now if you bring up a website and there are things flashing on the sides and across the top, they are trying to get you to buy things because why? Why do they need those advertisements up there? Those companies are advertising, the website gets those companies to put their ads on there, and they support, by selling those ads, that's how they keep their website up. So if they're advertising a lot and they need to keep the website up, it's probably not a great informational site. D is for date. You need to be able to find the copyright date, and I will show you where to find that. Dates when the information is written or revised. That's also hugely important for you to know if it's updated and current. Is it clearly stated where the data or statistics, graphs, and charts came from? They should identify where they got their information. S is for source. You need to think about whether you have a primary or a secondary source. Do you guys know the difference? Primary source is what? Secondary source? Do you know what a secondary source is? Here's an example I always use. If I were to take a picture of you as a class, and then I'd make copies and I'd give it to you, which is the primary source? The one that I took. The first initial main copy. You all have secondary sources. So think about your information that you're reading. Did one person, the expert in the field, put that information up? Or is there a bunch of somebody else use it and compile expert information? And then the source links to other sources that would score high in the CARDS evaluation. That's another something you want to look for. Something else you want to look for is the links. Do the links relate back to the topic that you are looking at? Do the links work? Are they broken? If there's a lot of broken links, that website is probably not something you want to be using. There's much better websites than that. On the very bottom of your bookmark, I have several URLs. And this is where you're going to write, so get your pencils ready. What does .com mean?
Computer.
A commercial or business, like a company. .com is commercial or business. .edu?
Education.
Education. .gov?
Government.
Gov. MIL?
Million.
Military.
Military. That is a military site. .net?
Network.
Network resources, okay? And then we're going to talk about these a little bit. .org?
No, organization.
Organization. Okay. I can tell you right now, your first source, the best source out of all of these is going to be GOV. Your government sites are the most current, the best source that you can have informationally. And they are the most currently revised. The next one is going to be a .edu. However, can middle school and high school people put information up on websites, on web pages? absolutely. So you're going to want to make sure what kind of EDU you're using. You're going to have to evaluate that. Now, all of these evaluation bullets on here, you're not going to find on every single website, but you're going to use the ones that have the most of these good points, okay? And then your oh, this is what I was going to ask you. Biased information. Which of those sites do you think you're likely to find the most biased information? .org and what else? Huh?
Or .net.
Well, military. Depending upon the information you're looking for, it could be accurate. Like if you're looking for information on the history of the Navy or the history of the military, that's going to be okay. But when you come to think about what branch to join or which is the best, what are you going to find? Biased information. So you're going to think about that depending upon what your topic is. If they're presenting, this is the cure for AIDS, and it's a .org, watch for biased information. Now, I have a very short amount of time. I had a couple websites up here that we were actually going to go through and evaluate, but we don't have time. Copyright date and author information is always at the bottom. There is an about link that you can click on, and you can go back and you can see where these people, you can see the background of this site. Now, how many of you have ever heard of the Center for Disease Control? Okay? That is a site or a business or an organization that you have heard of. Use websites of things that you have heard of, if at all possible. It has a .gov. Now I'm going to go here. One more quick thing. If there is a site map, and I didn't see one on here, an image or a site map. Sometimes those if you have the opportunity to see those, click on that because you're also able to see on more resources from that site map. Here we have one. I have a buydehydratedwater.com. Have you ever heard of this site? Anyone? No? Okay. There is an About Us link. Well, let me go back quickly and look at here. Do we see a copyright date?
I can't see anything right there.
It says 2013. It's really small. Is that current? Not if I was looking for really current information. Okay, it's not updated, is it? It doesn't say anything about being revised versus this Central Dakota Center for Disease Control, and it's not revised here. If I was to click on one of these pages, I wish I had more time. If I was to click on a page and find information, they will tell you, it says right here when it was last updated. Okay? So depending upon your topic, that's going to decide how recent your information is. I don't see a recent update here, so this might only have been used in 2013. I can click on some of these other links. They offer jobs. It says here, though, we have temporarily suspended hiring due to the implementation of Obamacare. Although we plan on hiring again soon, we want you to assure all your current and future employees that we will do everything possible to keep whatever. Have you ever heard of this? The world's fastest growing dehydrated water establishment. No. So would this be a site that you might automatically start taking information from, or would this be a site that you're going to want to read about? You would definitely want to read about this. This is, by the way, a hoax site. Have you ever heard of dehydrated water? Go on this site, Google buy dehydrated water, and read how dumb it is. If I would have given you guys the time to read this, I'm sure you probably would have saw some red flags. I just really ran out of time. So be aware that there are things out there that are not true. Don't take them for face value because they are out on the web. Keep in mind that anyone who wants to can put information on that web. If I came up with a website that had the cure for cancer And I put that out there that all you had to eat was dairy products and that's going to cure you or prevent you from getting cancer. And I put at the bottom, I kept it revised daily, and I put my name down there. How would you know if I had, and I put PhD, how would you know if I was a doctor or not?
Would it?
You wouldn't. And I didn't put any contact information on there because I don't want you contacting me. So I could easily do that. The user has no idea who's put that information up there.
We should do that.
So you need to be aware of what's out there. You guys need
Thank
to,
you.
in the next couple days, try and get your book.